Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi everyone. So let's quickly start our class with the opening prayer. Can I have GB 3102 on the mic? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullah. Can you please read the opening prayer for everyone? You can start with Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'ah.
Ilman nafi'a.
Man nafi'ah. Oh Allah, I ask for your beneficial knowledge.
I ask you for beneficial knowledge. Jazakallah. So this was taught in yesterday's class as well. We learned about alif of elongation. Okay, so we have to prolong this for 2 seconds. So before I proceed with the class etiquettes, I would just like to make an announcement about midterm exams. So there will be more guidance to follow in next week's class, inshallah. But I just want to inform everyone that everyone will be entered for the English exam, okay, unless you email us to let us know that you want to be tested in Urdu, okay, or you can also tell your breakout room teacher that you want to be, you would like to be examined or give your exam in Urdu. But if you don't take those steps, if you don't tell your teacher or if you don't email us, then everyone, by default, everyone will be entered for the English exam. Okay, so you can email us on this email address, contact@itqa.org.uk. Okay, so again, if you want to be examined in Urdu, then you have to email us to let us know, okay, that you want to give your exam in Urdu. Okay, so I'll quickly remind everyone about our class etiquettes. I hope that everyone did wuzu before joining the class. Make sure that you are wearing clean clothes and that your head is covered with a scarf or a cap. Make sure that you are sitting in a quiet place. If more than one sibling has joined, and if you're using 2 separate devices, make sure you are sitting in 2 different rooms. Otherwise, when you come to the mic, your voice will echo, okay? We do request that a parent or an older sibling should be present with you, okay? If you need any help, they should be there to help you. And lastly, make sure that you have joined the class with your correct ID. This is important so that we can assign you to your correct breakout room. So in today's class, we are going to continue with the lesson about Maddah Asli. Okay, so in yesterday's class, you learned about alif mad or alif of elongation. Okay, and today we are going to specifically look at waw madda or waw of elongation. For those of you who have the book Talimul-Qur'an at home, you can find this lesson on page 68 and page 69. Once we have covered today's lesson, we are going to practice using text from Holy Quran, and at the moment we have reached Surah Nisa, and in today's class we will practice using verse 110 to 114 of Surah Nisa, and this will be done in the breakout rooms. So once we have ended the class with the ending prayer, make sure to practice Surah Nisa verses 110 to 114. Okay, and I'll also go through the homework for the weekend. So straight after class, you have to practice Surah Nisa verses 110 to 114. And then later on in the night, you have to practice Surah Nisa verses 115 to 120. Okay, on Friday, make sure to practice Surah Nisa verse 121 to 127. And then later on at night, you can practice verse 128 to 131. On Saturday, you can practice Surah Nisa verse 132 to 138. And then in the evening, you can do revision. In the revision, you can either choose to practice previous verses, so which we have covered in the past week, or you could practice the verses which we covered this week. Or if you want a head start for next week, you can go ahead and practice the upcoming verses as well. Okay, that way you can be ready beforehand for next week's classes. Okay, so again on Sunday you have to revise and make sure to do this in 2 sessions. Okay, and again you can choose what you want to revise: old lesson, current lesson, or upcoming lesson. Okay, so let's continue with today's lesson. So before we learn about Alif Maddah, I'll quickly recap what we learned yesterday. So in yesterday's class, we learned that Mad means to lengthen or prolong. Okay, Mad is an Arabic term and it basically means to lengthen or prolong. And we learned that there are 3 letters in this category. Okay, in the category of Maddah Asli, or letters of prolongation, there are 3 letters. And these letters are known as Huruful Mad. Okay, letters of elongation. So, in yesterday's class, you learned about Alif Mad. And today, we are going to look at Waw Mad. So, what makes a Waw Mad? Okay, why do we identify certain Waw in the Holy Quran as Waw Mad, and why do we prolong them for 2 seconds? So let's see. So let's start with this short stroke of Dhamma. Whenever we have a letter which is carrying a Dhamma, we prolong it for 1 second. Okay, and the letter is called Madmoon. And if we have a Waw Sakin, okay, a Waw which is carrying the sign of Sukoon, then it makes the Waw Sakin a Waw Mad. Okay, so if we have a Waw Sakin and the previous letter is Madmoon, in other words, it is carrying a Dhamma, then we identify this Waw Sakin as Waw Mad. Okay, now that we have identified that this is a Waw Mad, we have to then prolong it for 2 seconds. Okay, Dhamma by itself is 1 second long, but if a Madmoom letter is followed by Waw Sakin, then we prolong it for 2 seconds. Okay, so a Waw Sakin preceded by a Madmoom letter is called a Waw Mad, or Waw of elongation. Remember, whenever we have a letter of elongation, we have to prolong for 2 seconds. Okay, no more and no less. It should be 2 seconds long. So let's have a look at some examples. Okay, let's have GB1914. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so we learned yesterday that a fatha or a maftuh letter by itself is prolonged for how long?
1 count.
That's right. And if the maftuh letter is followed by a blank alif, then how long should we prolong it for?
2 counts.
That's right. And do you know why we are prolonging it for 2 counts?
Because there's an alif in front of the letter with the fatha.
That's right. That's right. We are prolonging it because of the alif mad. And we know that it's a alif mad because the previous letter is a maftuh letter. Okay, it's a letter carrying the stroke of fatha. Okay, so that's the way to identify alif mad. You look at the previous letter, and if the previous letter has a fatha, you know that you need to prolong this for 2 seconds. Okay, so can you go through these examples?
La, la, ta, ta,
Excellent.
u,
Okay, try that again. Ooh.
u, bu, bu.
Very good, Jazakallah. So, just to recap everything, whenever you see a blank alif, look at the previous letter. If it is carrying a fatha, then you know that the alif is not just any blank alif, it's an alif mad. Okay, it's alif of elongation. And therefore, you need to prolong it for 2 seconds. Similarly, if you see a waw sakin, look at the previous letter. If it is carrying a dhamma, then the waw sakin is not just any ordinary waw sakin. It is waw of elongation. Okay, you need to prolong this for 2
2
seconds.
counts.
That's right. Okay, Jazakallah.